Morning guys, how's everybody doing today? Well, today I'm, you guessed it, on the way to Vancouver. Whole week of doctor's appointments, and something cool happening this week. I'm getting a new knee, well, trialing a new knee. So about halfway through the trip here. Weather, it's getting a little bit cold, but you can see the snow's still up here at the Coquihalla, and just on the way with the fan jam. So I'm down here for 6 weeks. You guys are gonna laugh, but I've been collecting these things for a while, and if you guys don't know, Aaron Wheels, they call him, is a wheelchair guy that competes in all the X Games. And
I'm Aaron Wheels Fotheringham, and my world's first is a wheelchair front flip.
Hot Wheels has made Hot Wheel wheelchairs, so I'm collecting these. So the goal of this trip is 6 of these things. So they're available at the dollar store, and I just always check if they're there. If they're there, then I get them. I'll show you what my wall looks like at home, but the goal for this trip is 6 of them. So I'll find out if they actually get 6, but I stopped in Merritt and I was lucky enough to get 1, so we'll find out. Oh, so glad to be on the road again and getting stuff settled out. Next Friday's my surgery, which I'll update you guys on as we get closer to it, but things are happening there. So see what happens this week, trying out this new knee. So what I'm trying with this knee is I've got a hydraulic one and I've been falling lots with it. And then I've got this one, which is my super expensive one, which stops me from falling. Is pretty awesome, but it's super heavy. So this knee should be right in the middle, and it's waterproof. So I'm gonna try it out in the pool, see what that all works like. It's gonna be so cool to try it. And you know, I have nothing to lose. It's a week-long trial. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So let's get on with this trip. DJ, can you please roll this intro?
Hey everybody, my name is Andrew Adley. After a workplace accident, I was left as a above-knee amputee. I had a decision to make. Get busy living or get busy dying. Obviously, you only have one life, so I made a decision to get busy living, exploring every opportunity that's presented to me. Tune in every week for different adventures, both from accessibility standpoint to adventures with my family and friends. And every adventure begins with one leg at a time.
Well, hey there guys, so we're outside of Britain Creek, which is almost at the peak of the Coquihalla, and it's still, roads are wet, but there's a ton of snow on either side, so the Smasher's right around the corner. And you know, I've talked about it in the past, but the Smasher's basically a steep hill that comes down and it goes through a tunnel, and it's where all the semis spin out coming up and going down, so it can be quite the fun. Gets western real quick, but today it's just wet. Temperature up here is 2 degrees Celsius, so it's not freezing or anything, which is really nice. So should be fine, but we'll see what it turns out to. It's really weird to see this much less snow up here. Like normally it's banks and banks over the top of the van, but today it's like, I don't know, 6 inches maybe on either side. It's not even really slushy, it's more wet on the roads, so we could be in for a big fire season if this is what the Coquihalla looks like. Now it is snowing, but it's more of a dusting. So let's see what it turns out like. Let's get on our way. Hey there guys, so we're right at the top of the summit now. You can see visibility is not great. It's still snowing / raining, but the fog is really bad, so we'll find out what the Smasher's like. I think it should be fine, but you never know on this highway. Temperature wise, it's saying it's 1 degree now, so at least we're not into freezing conditions now. Like if this was -5 or something, I'd be really concerned, but being the way it is, I think we're okay. They're saying the time to get to Richmond, BC, where we're staying, is 2 o'clock, so still on pace for that. kind of just taking our time, and you know, it's beautiful, but it's also worrisome. Well, hey there, guys. So we're in Hope, BC. You see, it got pretty hairy there for a while, but all was good. It was more just rain than anything. So the girls had to go to the washroom, so we thought we'd stop here. I usually stop in Abbotsford, but stopped here. Temperature, it's cooled down quite a bit. I think it's about 1 degree now. Well, let's see how much fuel is this going to cost us. I'm thinking probably, let's say 30 liters, because I used a little bit before I came, so a little bit higher than normal. Fuel price is $1.89, or so, $1.63. Sorry, that was premium. So not terrible. I think Costco in Kamloops, where I came from, was $1.53, I think. So not terrible prices here. Probably pretty close to Abbotsford's pricing, but oh, it didn't ask me a million questions either. That's kind of nice. So this trip should be interesting. I haven't got a new leg in a long, or a new knee, I should say, in a long time. So this, are you gonna let me select? Select grade. No. Okay, select grade. Sorry. So it's supposed to be, it's not myoelectric, so it doesn't need a charger like my other ones, so therefore it's not as heavy, but it's supposed to be more stable. So this one here, you can see it's just kind of free swinging there. And that, if I get lazy, I'm falling a lot. So this should stop that if it works properly. Find out, and then after I get that, then I got to find out if I get the funding, because I may not get the funding for it. Which sounds kind of backwards, but got to find out if it works first and then go for the funding. That's 24 liters, so 25 liters. So I was a little bit short on my prediction, 26 liters. So a little bit shorter, so price there was $43.17, and we used 26.33 liters. So I'll do the conversions for my American friends there, what it works out to in American money and to gallons. So we'll get on to Richmond, BC. Actually, first, I gotta go check the dollar store, see if they have any more wheelchairs. Maybe I get 2 on this trip. My goal is 6, so we'll do the wheelchair count throughout the video. So let's see what kind of luck I have here, guys. This is Dollarama. I know it's kind of stupid, but I like collecting these. And unfortunately, in my home city, I've gone through every dollar store. They're like $2, so it's not much, but I collected all the ones they have there. So I have to go to other cities now. So let's see if they have any. I'm busy here. I looked when I was in the States for these things and I never found them anywhere, so maybe they're just a Canada thing. I'll put a couple clips here about Aaron Wheels, and I'll put some clips about what he's been able to do. But he's really an inspiration for a lot of wheelchair people. If they have any. They're harder and harder to get. A lot of wheelchair guys collect these. So. And it's a strikeout. A lot of these cities, guys in wheelchairs have already got them, so I always pick the odd cities to see, and I thought, well, maybe this will be the one, being Hope, BC, but I guess I was wrong. So let's get on our way to Richmond. Well, guys, we made it safe and sound here to rainy Richmond, BC. So I'm back at the hotel where, for you guys have been watching me for a while, the one that said, man, can you just fix this? The Alfredo guy that's the manager. So back here, Kenzie loves the pools here. So that's why we're back. Otherwise, I wouldn't be coming here. So this is entering through the lobby here. And that's what the front desk looks like. It looks like a fancy hotel, but it really, looks are not always what they seem. It does have a chop house in here and then a nice fireplace. But it's really not that nice. Trip was okay. It was just really rainy and wet. And traffic wasn't terrible, so Grover's pretty good in the rain, but just when the fog there cresting over the Smasher made it a little bit tougher. But other than that, it was good. Girls already went up to the room. They've got the cooler and everything upstairs, so I had to park Grover and get it all registered and everything, and I'm sure we'll be going to the pool later on. I think my goal is I'm going to show you guys what the leg looks like underwater before and after. Kids are so excited from the pool. So. Hey guys, so today I'm going to show you what this leg, which is my normal leg, what it's going to look like underwater, and then tomorrow I'll show you what the other one looks like, and then I'll show you also what a waterproof leg looks like. So let me give it a shot. So I thought I'd do this part as a voiceover because, funny thing, mics don't work underwater. So here's me walking into the pool. You can see the air coming out of the foot shell as I step in. The biggest difference you'll see on this leg is it's hydraulic, so it doesn't return back to straight. So when you take a step, there's nothing forcing it to go straight, which means I can't lock it to take another step. So you'll see when I'm walking underwater, it flexes, and then I'm trying to shove it back to plant it. So that's the biggest difference. It's not spring loaded. And that's also the biggest difference why I'm falling, because you can see if I don't flick it back straight and I get lazy, that's when I fall. So that's the biggest difference between this one and the one that I'm trialing. So you'll think that I'm exaggerating it trying to get it back, but when you're pushing against water, you're physically pushing the weight. So there's nothing that's helping the foot return back to straight, which is its lock position. So this is the biggest deterrent over this leg, but the plus side is it's super light to use. So it's kind of a pick your poison, if you will. This, for any prosthetics users, is the Oser 2200. Okay, so we'll see what that turns out like for you guys, but that's the Oser 2200. So if you guys aren't prosthetic people, this is a hydraulic leg. So basically when I'm walking, I have to flick it with my hip land the heel, which locks it straight, and then I can walk. The downfall of this one is if I get lazy and I don't flick my hip and the heel doesn't strike perfectly even, then it won't lock, and then I biff it. So I wanted to show you guys how that worked, and then how the actual other one works underwater. So we'll be able to do a true comparison, and then we'll do a waterproof one too. So I'll show you that one. So let's get on the other leg and try that. Well, good morning, y'all. New leg day. I love trying new equipment. So lucky to be able to do this, but as you can see by the last clip, rain, 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 more rain. I guess that's part of the West Coast winter. It's definitely hard to get used to, because where I'm from, it's snow or nothing. Rain's not a common thing at all. So we're on our way to Barber's Prosthetics. And we'll see Dr. Leah and see if she can get us tuned in. And I'm a little worried last night after that swimming last clip. There was a lot of rust coming out of this lake, so Dr. Leah's probably not going to like me as much. That's okay. And there you go. See the rain, rain, and more rain. But I guess good I'm coming down here in the off season, you know, summer, let it be nice and warm. So there's my boy Grover. Hope he slept okay. Oh. I'll catch up with you guys when I get over there, unless something happens with the traffic. Who knows? It's still raining. Gotta grab some stuff here. Put you guys right there. Where do you keep your liners? Heaven forbid you actually wear them. Gonna lock Grover up here. There we go. So if you guys are new to my channel, this is Barber's Prosthetics. So this is where I get all my prosthetics done here in Vancouver, almost Richmond. They're really good here. I've followed my prosthetists from our old clinic, so. Isn't that cool? Look at all this guy. Isn't that cool? This, these up here are wooden legs. That's how when they used to make legs out of wood. I always look at client stuff and then I get in trouble because I'm not supposed to film stuff like that. So you just wander around. Well, look at that. That's a new one. The dog there.
The unicorn dog?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was she told me about that. That was a mistake, I think, for somebody. They spent hours doing it. But there's their plaster area.
Showed Leah she's swapping out for this new knee. So this new one's waterproof, but I'm hoping it's not too heavy because I've got a really good microprocessor, which is electric knee. But the electric knee is so heavy that it's like wearing a bowling ball. So it's kind of like, and this one here, like I was showing you before in the water, um, it's super light, but it has no safeties, like zero safeties. So I fall. Like if I'm in areas where there's lots of people, or I'm lazy, or I lose attention, then I fall. So it's like I want something a happy medium where it has the safety of the genium, but the lightability of the Oster. So I don't know. Like I know it sounds stupid to you, two-leggers, but for us, it's like it really weighs on you wearing it all day, or so I really want the safety ability. So we'll find out what this one's like. I mean, it's a trial, right? Like I have nothing to lose. So there's the one. Ooh, I just rolled over here. So this is just like the one I have right now. It's super light. Um, this is actually mine, but what's happening is when it sits overnight, it's almost like it rusts up, so it goes like super straight. So I have to go to a wall and like kick it to get it to be able to swing. So there's obviously something wrong with it. I really like this knee. Like I've had it since day one, and it's really simple.
Yep.
It's really simple and throws easy.
So I'm not really filming the adjustments that Leah's making because every adjustment's like literally like less than an eighth of an inch, like just so minute and makes such a difference. So she's measuring, looking how far my leg's sticking out, and then making the adjustments accordingly.
I'm not really filming any of the adjustments. I'll film the actual walking with it, but Leah's just trying to get the height set. And then I had a little bit of problem getting my liner on, so now it's on. We're trying. There it's on. No leg. So Leah's now cutting it to get a little bit shorter, but I had a pretty good, interesting conversation with the owner here at Barber's. And this is more directed towards Canadians, I guess, but this whole tariff battle and how it affects the prosthetic industry. Because, is the tariffs going to affect the prosthetic industry? Does it apply to the prosthetic industry? Like, it doesn't really, I guess it does affect me, but it doesn't really affect me because my funding is by the government, but still obviously things are going to go up in price, therefore maybe things aren't available as much to me. But he was saying that they don't know. He called a couple warehouses where he gets stuff from, and he was asking the questions: how much of these tariffs are going to affect the stuff that I'm buying? And he said that he was the first one to call on that in Canada, and they don't know. They don't know if this stuff falls under the tariff guideline. I mean, obviously, when you look at this stuff, there's a lot of aluminum being used in it. So in reality, it should, but it's medical equipment, so maybe not. I don't know. This is, and I'm not getting into politics, but this is very weird times for us because we don't know. It kind of reminds me a lot about when COVID first happened that, people were trying to react, but I think people are trying to learn from COVID and be more reactive and go, okay, is this the new norm? So, I mean, for you Americans, I'm not saying anything against your leader or anything. I'm just trying to talk about how it affects my life, my prosthetic life, and maybe any amps out there that um, are both in America or you or Canadian can comment on this because the owner here really didn't know, and which is good and not, because maybe it won't affect it. I don't know. So I'll get back to you guys when I get my leg back from getting adjusted, and then I'll be able to walk on it. But hopefully this, for you guys that aren't amps, I put on like a wetsuit, and then I have a ring that holds suction to keep this part on. Well, what I found was my liner, like when I go to put it on, I was only getting to like here, and I need to be down here. So it basically makes me high on that side. So we'll find out. Let Leah do a couple adjustments, because that's boring anyway. She's just cutting pipe and adjusting it, and then I'll get back to you when I'm walking with this one. First impressions, I think the knee is ugly. It's a blue color, which but if it's safer, maybe this is right. Anyways, I'll get back to you.